I've always heard that if you give a blatant, cowardly liar and a hypocrite time enough, that they will show their true colors in their ugly little face. And in this case, in this scenario, that is the Big Ten. But before we get to all that, here they come riding in once again. It's the Outlaw Posse now in effect. In today's random four horsemen shout-outs go to Texas Torpedo 01, Heath Stokes, Killback First, and Sooner JH travels are mounted up, saddled up, and ready to go. And they're going to help us with today's college football invasion. Also, we have a new member to the Outlaw Posse, that being Brandon Goodyear. So welcome him into the posse. He will get his random four horseman shout out as well as his badge now. He's deputized. And that's not but $2.99 a month, just 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaws. Little join button over by the subscribe button. We also had some re-ups. Darth Iskines and Corrections 101. Now, getting right to it here. The Big Ten, once again, has shown that they are the most hypocritical conference of all time. Always preaching and hyping themselves up and acting all elite about academics and yada, 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 talking all that stupid AAU crap that we all know is just a farce. It's just their way of straw grasping whenever they're not winning championships in the bigger money-paying athletic sports. Last 2 years, they've won a couple national titles, but that is pretty much an anomaly over the course of college football history. If you go back and look at your history books, normally the Big Ten doesn't win back-to-back titles in the biggest money-making sport, that being college football. But I'm going to go ahead and bring up an article here right now to show you the hypocrisy that I speaketh of. And here it is. Big Ten's radical idea for college football playoff expansion frustrates execs and peculiar interest from ADs. Also, how would the league's idea for up to 28 teams in the CFP playoff field affect the bowl game system? It says here the Big Ten's radical idea to expand the college football playoff from 12 to 28 is already off to a rocky start. Well, no crap, CBS. It seems ever since that CBS took over college football for the Big Ten, no longer does the SEC, it's like they automatically slant to the Big Ten. You've got to show that you're not biased, CBS, because we can see right through it. The common Joes and the common citizens know, even more so than all the media talking heads. That's our motto, by the way. Can see right through y'all's crap, man. Those days are over, man. People need to wake up. Those older execs and stuff in these big time companies need to wake up because we can see right through your crap. It says the news of the Big Ten's internal socialization, an early blueprint to expand the college football playoff came to light on Saturday before many of the commissioners in the other 9 FBS conferences were informed personally by Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti. Leaks around the CFP formats of the last year are nothing new, but the timing of a December 1st deadline limit for a new agreement intensified frustration. It says it's frustrating that these topics can't be discussed behind the scenes and brought out to the public once they've been vetted, and an SEC administrator said. So if you're pissing off the SEC, that's probably the worst thing you can do, Petitti. You might be able to get away. I'm going to start calling him Petitti because he's a little titty baby. He's just as bad as that other guy, that Kevin Warren snake guy that snaked the Pac-12 and the ACC a few years back. It says he floated a 24 to 28 team playoff model with the Big Ten athletic directors last week. The SEC was informed later, but other conferences were left out until the leak surfaced. Administrators have been focused on a 16-team format in recent negotiations, making the Big Ten's larger proposal a surprise. Let me stop here for a second. Well, no crap. It's a surprise. You go from 12 to maybe pushing it to 14 or 16. All of a sudden, you just come in and just, let's just throw it out there. Let's show how hypocritical we really are. Now, this is the conference, y'all. There's been talking and preaching academics and AAU status and all this hypocritical elitism that I've been preaching to everybody for quite some time, that these guys don't give a crap about academics. They only grasp to that when it's convenient for them, when they're getting their ass handed to them in one of the two big money-making sports, as I've said ad nauseum. Goes on to say what remains constant is the Big Ten's desire for multiple automatic qualifiers for months. Its preferred model has been a 16-team field with 4 from the Big Ten and the SEC, 2 from the ACC and Big 12, and 1 from the group of 6. By contrast, the ACC and the Big 12 have lobbied for 16 teams with 11 at-large bids. Now, CBS on purpose left out that the SEC also wants that. So they want everybody to think that the SEC is going along with the Big Ten, and y'all might as well just acquiesce and roll over. The SEC is not rolling over that, at least not yet. Now, they might, and if they do, I might be an SEC guy, but it's horse shit. First cuss word I've said tonight, but that's complete and utter horse shit. Second, the Big Ten and SEC hold decisive voting power on the CFB board. Well, no crap. No crap, man. Let's just state the obvious here, CBS. Sources within the Big Ten emphasize that Petitti's 24 to 2018 design remains in the infancy and are not ready to formally be presented. Well, I suggest you not present it at all, if it's my opinion. Now, I'm not going to read this whole article verbatim here, but it just galls me that they talk and preach about how they're worried about the academics and the students, and then they want to add more games. Not only do you add more games if you go to 14 or 16, but if you go to 24 or 28, you definitely add more games. All this is the Big Ten trying to make sure they get 8 to 10 teams in the playoff. That's all this is. And you can't tell me that a 8-4 or even a 9-3 Iowa or Illinois team deserves to be in the playoffs, because they don't. They just don't, man. And y'all talk about the strain that it has on the academics of these students, and yet you're adding these games. You're adding tons of more games. And on top of that, you still have the conference championship games that need to go away if this is going to happen. If we're going to be fair to these students, those conference championship games need to go away. And I know we're going to have some people running in here, these spastics that just love to watch every single college football game they can get without any reprise or any concern for the athletes and how this might be putting them out and risking them more injury. But those conference title games don't need to stay. I'm sorry. I mean, I liked them back in the day. But as you saw last year, Georgia was put in a distinct disadvantage by having to play in the SEC title game. Yeah, they won it, but they lost their starting quarterback for the playoffs. And I venture to say that they would have probably beat Notre Dame had they had Carson Beck. We'll never know that for sure, for certain. You're right. For all the naysayers, for all the ones that want to try to contradict and be a devil's advocate on this. But I venture to say that more than likely Georgia would have beat Notre Dame. Might have even went on further than that and maybe even played for the national title against Ohio State. Not sure how the bracket would have played out at that point. But, yeah. But that's all I got to say about that, really. You guys and gals tell me, what do y'all think about it? Y'all think this is more hypocrisy from the Big Ten? The ones that claim academic concerns when they absolutely don't give a flying crap about these students. That's all I got to say about that. Teams like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, if you want to join the Outlaw Posse and get a random Four Horseman shout like those guys did earlier, it's now for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. Little join button over by the subscribe button. KNCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.